Each life story holds its own unique significance. These stories offer valuable lessons that help us improve ourselves. In this video clip, we have gathered some of the most interesting and meaningful stories to share with all our listeners. Each short story below serves as a life lesson and a meaningful gift you should listen to in order to enrich your own experiences. So let's explore these stories together. Story 1. Who is the Fool? A teacher noticed that in his class, there was a boy who was always called foolish. During recess, the teacher asked his group of friends why. They replied, "He is the most foolish of them all, sir. You give him a large coin of 5 rubles and a small coin of 10 rubles, he will choose the 5-ruble coin. He thinks the larger coin is better because it's bigger." The teacher observed a student in the group give the 2 coins to the boy, who chose the 5-ruble coin as expected. The teacher asked in surprise, "Why did you choose the 5-ruble coin instead of the 10-ruble coin?" The boy responded, "The 5-ruble coin is larger, and if I take the 10-ruble coin, they won't give it to me next time." The lesson learned. At first glance, the boy might seem foolish, but that's not necessarily the case. It is often said that a fool who appears dangerous is not to be feared, but a dangerous person who seems foolish is truly frightening. So, don't underestimate the person in front of you, as they might not be as foolish as you think. This brief story about the coin encourages us to reconsider our perceptions of others. Story 2. The Woodcutter and the Scholar. A woodcutter and a scholar were traveling together in a boat on the river. The scholar, who prided himself on his deep knowledge, proposed a word-guessing game to pass the time. He also set terms. If he lost, he would pay the woodcutter 10 coins, while if the woodcutter lost, he would pay only 5 coins. The scholar believed he was giving the woodcutter a chance to showcase his intellect. The woodcutter posed a riddle. What weighs 1,000 pounds on the river, but only 10 pounds on land? The scholar pondered, but could not come up with an answer and gave the woodcutter 10 coins. He then asked the woodcutter for the answer. "I don't know either," replied the woodcutter, and then handed 5 coins back to the scholar, adding, "I'm sorry, I just earned 5 coins." The scholar was astonished. The lesson learned. Many people boast about their intelligence and look down on those less educated. However, their excessive pride can sometimes lead to comical situations. They fail to realize that intelligence can backfire when coupled with arrogance. Sometimes, being overly smart and proud can lead to one's downfall. This brief story about the woodcutter encourages us to think about the virtue of humility. Story 3. The Burnt Toast. When I was around 8 or 9 years old, I remember my mother occasionally burning the toast. One evening, after a long day of work, my mother prepared dinner for my father and me. She served several slices of toast that were burnt black. I watched the toast and waited to see if anyone would comment on the burnt bread. My father simply ate his toast and asked me about my schoolwork as usual. I don't remember what I said to him that day, but I remember my mother apologizing for burning the toast. My father responded, "I actually like burnt toast." That night, as I wished my father good night, I asked him if he really liked burnt toast. He put his arm around me and said, "Your mother worked very hard all day and she is very tired. A piece of burnt toast doesn't hurt anyone. But do you know what truly hurts others? Those harsh and hurtful comments." Life is full of imperfections and people who aren't perfect. I'm not great at many things, like remembering birthdays or anniversaries. What I've learned over the years is to accept other people's faults and support their differences. This is the key to building a healthy, mature, and enduring relationship. Life is too short to wake up with regrets and resentment. Cherish those who treat you well and be understanding towards those who do not. The lesson learned. In life, it is important to learn to empathize with others' flaws and shortcomings. Understanding and compassion towards family, friends, and loved ones will help you lead a harmonious life. Empathy is the key to nurturing family happiness. Story 4. The Complaining Husband. While the wife was cooking in the kitchen, the husband stood nearby, complaining non-stop. "Slow down, be careful, the fire is too high. Hurry up, flip the fish. Oh, there's too much oil." The wife replied, "I know how to cook." The husband said, "You know, my dear, when I drive, you keep complaining non-stop. I want you to understand how it feels. The lesson learned. It's not difficult to empathize with others. Just take the time to see things from their perspective. When you are in their shoes, you will understand all their actions from every angle. Don't rush to judge and conclude matters without understanding all aspects. Understanding others, rather than complaining about them, is the lesson from this story. Story 5. King and the Painful Feet. Once upon a time, there was a king who ruled a prosperous kingdom. One day he went on a spring outing. Upon returning to the palace, the king complained about his painful feet. It was the first time he had experienced such a long journey over rough and rocky terrain. King then ordered that all the roads in the kingdom be covered with leather. This would require thousands of pieces of leather and a vast amount of money. Suddenly, a courtier bravely asked the king, "Why spend so much money on this? Why not just make yourself a pair of shoes instead?" The king was surprised but agreed to have a pair of shoes made. The lesson learned. This brief story helps us understand that to create a better life for ourselves, we should change ourselves, our thoughts and our hearts, rather than trying to change the entire world. By changing yourself, the world will appear much better. Story 6. The Giraffe's Lesson in Success and Failure. Every time a baby giraffe is born, it is a lesson. When giving birth, the mother giraffe stands so the baby falls more than 3 meters to the ground and lies there. After a few minutes, the mother giraffe does something unusual. She kicks her baby until it gets up. When the baby giraffe lies down because its legs are tired, the mother nudges it to stand up. Until the baby giraffe can stand on its own legs, the mother keeps making it get up and fall down, forcing it to strive to stand. The lesson learned. This story about a newborn giraffe and its mother's method of teaching highlights something unusual but essential for the baby giraffe. It must stand to survive in the wild. If it does not, it will be left vulnerable and become prey for predators. Similarly, humans may face challenges and hardships, but we must maintain our faith and resilience. One does not lose by being defeated, but only by surrendering. Remember, there is always latent strength within us to face adversity. Story 7. The Two Tigers with Different Fates. There were 2 tigers, one in captivity and one in the wild. Both tigers thought their circumstances were unfavorable and admired each other's situations. They decided to exchange their fates. At first, they were very happy, but soon both tigers perished. One died from starvation and the other from despair. The lesson learned. Sometimes people ignore their own happiness and focus on the happiness of others. In reality, what you have might be something others envy. Life often unfolds in unexpected ways. After hearing these stories, remember that at any time and place, you can remind yourself of these lessons. Thank you for joining us on Healing Channel. We hope these stories have provided you with valuable insights and inspiration. Don't forget to leave a comment about which story touched you the most, and subscribe to our channel to catch our future videos.